And I'm wearing actually the same outfit I had for the NU Films interview one, but there's no shame in the same outfit game because unlike television, we all have to recycle our wardrobe, don't we? And I'm no different, but I also figured, well, might as well do back-to-back filming. Daytime filming too, which I don't know, I feel like I have better, my thoughts flow better at nighttime when it comes to filming, but I shall do my best. So today, I would like to touch upon the topic of the lost art of conversation. Now, I know if you unwrap a Dove chocolate, it'll say, revive the art of conversation. I know I've seen those before, and it's so true. Thank you, Dove. But I really think one unfortunate side effect of the times we're living in with the ubiquity of technology is that we find ourselves hidden behind screens, typing a lot, editing, having a buffer between what we say and then the time that it's received, which is nice in a lot of ways, I agree, but I also think that face-to-face communication is important and that we should continue to make sure that we finesse that skill. And I am not by any means an expert. I just have high FE, which for those of you that know is extroverted feeling, which means I consider others and I like connecting with others. And so for me, I really enjoy a really good, juicy conversation, especially a great conversation partner where it feels like a game of tennis or ping pong. And I think that's my first point. I'll just jump right in. Like the song from the 90s by The Urge. That's a catchy one. If you haven't heard it in a while, you might want to look it up. Although it is a bit dirty and I don't know if I really considered that at the time. But yes, jumping right in. I think a good conversation and something that we need to keep in mind is that it should have a nice back and forth, which is really something that's a shame I miss with YouTube, is that it's me just sort of spewing my ideas at you and not getting any feedback except for the comment section, which I love, but then there's the delay, of course, right? But yes, a good conversation should have some questions, some answers, some insights, some additional insights, just a nice back and forth, a nice volley. I'm sure you've all experienced it before where someone is just talking at you and not with you. And even though those are just small words, they make a huge difference. Nobody wants to be talked at like a wall. And of course there's a time for that. I vent sometimes where I'm just a wall of sound at somebody, but I also am cognizant that I'm doing it and that it's not ideal and not something I consider a conversation or want to do every day. So it's good to remember to take a pause and to let the other person speak and to have a nice back and forth. Something else is to try not to formulate what you're saying when someone else is speaking, which can be very, very difficult, because I know I do this sometimes because someone will give me an idea and then I want to hold on to it like, oh my gosh, I want to interject this. And sometimes it's good just to be in the moment and let the conversation flow. And it's also good, the art of conversation, to, and this is something I actually learned in improv, if somebody asks, if you ask a question, to wait and let the person respond. Sometimes I do that. I'll ask a question, then I'll ask another question right behind it, maybe another question. It's like boom, 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 rapid fire, without letting the person answer the first question. So I think it's important that we ask a question, wait for an answer. So I think one of the big things, the overarching theme of a lot of this is patience, which, I mean, I know I struggle with. I'm sure many of you do too, especially in the times we're living in where everything is very instantaneous. Our internet speeds are crazy. We got 5G coming out. We're just it's gonna take seconds to download movies. Yeah, so we're used to things being very quick, But I think conversation needs to be one of those things, just like breathing and mindfulness, where you take a moment and you're really enjoying and savoring like a good piece of chocolate what the other person's saying, and kind of giving your thoughts and insights. And making sure too that it's not all about one person, unless that's the sort of perimeter. I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. I got daytime filming brain. The parameters of the conversation. If you know your friend is hurting and they just want to unload and talk about it, then yes, it will be centered on them, and that's perfectly fine. But just to do it to people all the time, you might find people kind of falling away because they don't want to be just a wall that is talked at. And yeah. So, can you think of anything else to add to my list? There are many things. I think active listening is important too, to let people know that you've heard what they said, to give some ahas and some nodding and some confirmation, and also to make sure you're understanding them. You can ask questions. But if you can think of anything else, let us know. And how do you feel about conversations and having good conversations? I know for me it's one of my favorite things, honestly. I love a great conversation where it feels like we're both deeply connected to one another on the same wavelength, and they're getting something out of it and I'm getting something out of it, and we're both revitalized. There's nothing better. So yeah, the lost art of conversation. And maybe another question to ponder would be, how do we bring it back? What's a good step to bringing it back? I hadn't thought about that yet, but I think just discussing it is a good step one. All right, guys, I hope you're all well. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. And remember, stay weird, my friends. It's where you are.